All right. So, people, thank you so much for joining us today. As you can see, all of us are mobile, and unfortunately, I have to log in while on the road today because I had some meetings. But nevertheless, thanks so much for joining us today on this interesting webinar on the auspicious day of Dhanteras, where we're going to talk about what revenue based funding is all about and how it can become India's next wealth creator. I believe we were supposed to be welcoming a lot of guests today, but somehow I think Mr. Anil Chikara is still trying to log in. He is not able to log in today, unfortunately. I will wait for some time, and if he logs in, I will obviously take him on board. But meanwhile, I will introduce my other guests that we have today. So, first of all, let me introduce Mr. Prasant Dua. Just give me a minute. Yes. So we have Mr. Prasant with us. Prasant is with me. He's also now indeed co-founder of Avijak, and Prasant has a very rich history of building a lot of interesting brands as well as working in the startup space for more than 2 decades now. Prasant, why don't you just give a brief introduction and then I'll introduce other guests.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Avijac's first webinar of based on the auspicious day of Dhanteras and Choti Diwali. Wish you all a happy and prosperous festive season ahead. So, just to give you a quick introduction about what I am and what Avijak is all about. So, I've been into the startup ecosystem for almost around 2 decades now, having an experience of starting companies at an early stage and also helping the companies go from national to international. I'm helping these communities for primarily three things, that is expansion, collaboration, and investments. And apart from it, I recently joined Avejak as a partner with Satish, and we look forward to have a healthy participation today and have a fruitful conversation regarding what Avejak brings all about.
Thank you, Prasant. Prasant, I think
Yeah.
then we will take you to our next guest, who's Mr. Tripat. S- Tripat. Hi, Tripat. How are you?
Hi,
So
I'm
Tripat
fine. How
is
are you?
again a very. We are doing good. Thank you. So Tripat again is someone who has a lot of exposure with startups, with startup fundraising, and now today I think he's talking to us in a very different avatar as founder and chief promoter of a very interesting healthcare startup called HealthGraph. This is the first deal that we are going to take on Avijak, which is the revenue-based funding platform that we are launching today. So, Tripat, why don't you kind of give a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks and welcome to the webinar. Um, my name is Tripat Preet Singh. I've been a serial entrepreneur and investor. So I've done even IB. So I've been on all three sides of investments for last about 20 years. My last venture was Charmboard, which got funded $5 million. And during the COVID times, I said, let me do something in healthcare. And that's what we're doing now. I'll speak about HealthGraph a little later. But I'm very happy to see revenue-based funding being an initiative by Avejak, and it's a great opportunity. So looking forward to working with you guys.
Thank you so much, Tripat. I think the next guest that I will introduce would be Mr. Sushil Sharma. Hi, sir, and welcome to this webinar of Avijak and revenue-based funding. Thanks so much for giving out time. Sushil heads this interesting association called Marwari Catalysts, and again, he comes with a very rich background of working with startups and helping them to raise funds. Sushil, over to you for your introduction, please. Sushil, I think I can't hear you. Can you just recheck on the mute system, please?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
we can hear you
everyone.
now.
Happy Dhanteras and happy Diwali. And congratulations for starting such a wonderful initiative. And it has always been that, SaaS model or a revenue-based model were always been appreciated by the investors, and it is actually one of the area of interest, specifically with the traditional, mindset people. So look forward to have a wonderful interaction, wonderful startups joining us and being a part of it. Thanks so much once again for inviting us. And as a part of introduction for Marwari Catalyst Ventures, we are a accelerator who actually wants to join startups at a growth stage. And I think there is a strong requirement for good accelerators in the market. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sushil. And please stay online. I think we'll come back to you with some more questions and some more of your suggestions. The next person I'll introduce would be Mr. Ravi Nandan Sena. Mr. Ravi again is a very, very senior domain expert into the startup space, and more so in the MSME space. That is one domain that he has been working for more than last 3 decades, I believe, and he has been helping them playing a very influential role in enabling government to understand and to support MSMEs of the country. Mr. Ravi, on to you for your introduction, please.
Thank you, Satish, and namaskar from my side and to all the panelists. We are talking on a very, very auspicious occasion. A couple of things that I want to make very, very transparent is all the viewers and all the panelists, remember one thing: what is the next step of a startup? You become an MSME. And remember one thing: when you are a startup, when you are looking for a growth, remember one thing: even the government wants you to grow. Each and every state has got its own startup policy. We have our own investor pool, and we are primarily very happy to invest in companies which is now coming up the curve. Remember one thing: the government wants, the policy makers wants startups to grow and MSMEs to grow, flourish. However, we have to understand the process. We have to understand the route which is to be taken. I'm very happy to be with the panelists here, and I think while we will keep on interacting, we will be a kind of a subject matter expert for you all to grow. Please do not have any apprehensions that there cannot be a solution. There will be a solution if you follow a process, and we are there to handhold you. We are there. MSME Business Forum is a forum which is taking the government's vision forward of ease of governance, of single window solution. I will try my best of what we can do to support Avejak and all of you. It's a pleasure to be here, all of you, with all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And I think thank you so much for giving us such an inspiring vision for promoting and supporting MSMEs and upcoming startups in the country. And I'm sure that your expertise and your guidance will be of immense value to Avejak and to all of us who are present here today. So please stay online for a few minutes. I'll definitely come back to you in some time. So I think our main man, Anil, is back, hopefully now. So hi, Anil. Welcome back, and thanks that you are able to connect. So Anil, why don't I think let me not speak about you. Maybe you can just give your brief introduction and tell the people that how you have been adding so much value into the whole ecosystem.
See, there was a phase where I was an entrepreneur myself. Oh, before that I was a corporate employee. So from 88 when I passed out of college. Can you hear me, Satish, clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So from 88 to 2000, I was actually working for corporates. But in the last, about 7 years, I was setting up businesses for foreign companies in India. And it's only in 2021 when I started my own startup, 25/7 Learning. We started about EdTech when nobody had heard about EdTech. And I was like, I should have started now. But anyway, so I had my own startup. We raised multiple rounds. We raised $4 million from Network 18. I exited in 2013. And then I was abroad in Middle East for some time in Dubai, came back. And when I came back, this is in 2015, I saw a huge, vibrant startup ecosystem building in India. taking roots. There were green shoots everywhere. Everybody was excited and nothing seemed impossible. So that's when I said, how do I get into that? So I was running Jarvis Accelerator based out of Gurgaon. And fortunately, I was also invited to be a judge on a startup reality show called Hausle Ki Udaan. And I got the opportunity of meeting 50 entrepreneurs in each of the 10 small cities like Bhopal, Nagpur, Jaipur, Hyderabad, and all of these kind of cities over the next 30 days. And that actually gave me this thing that I could see the things that were happening in Bangalore and all that. About 2-3 years back, Bangalore, Delhi, and all had started happening in the tier 2 smaller towns. And I said, the next wave is going to be in tier 2. And about 3 years back, I started my own accelerator called Blue Bolt Startup Factory, where I went on a premise that, you do not need infra or community or connections or demo days, which typically accelerators offer, but revenues and connections and things like that. So first cohort went very well. Now I'm on the second cohort. We are focusing on supply chain and logistics as well as on the EV segment. I got really excited, Satish, the day I still remember clearly the day you called me up and say, hey, you want to do Avejak? And you almost kind of threw a challenge. Yaar, ab batao kya kar sakte ho uske saath types. And you have been on my watch since this early crowdfunding days, because you have a vision of how can the masses who believe in the dreams of entrepreneur can also fund those entrepreneurs. And I remember you did Catapult and the challenges you had with SEBI at that time, and then Catapult got acquired, and you were. But I always saw that because इसमें कीड़ा है, public से पैसा लेने का कीड़ा है for entrepreneurs. So when he came back to me with Avejak, and I said bang on. And why I said bang on was, I think this COVID lockdown has told us that, the whole startup ecosystem, which was so full of bullshit and packaging, and where perception had become more important than reality. And for me, reality in business is the cash flows. The reality in business is what do you spend and what do you get on a month-to-month basis. But somehow that became this thing. And this lockdown has shown that businesses which align with this new reality, which means that your business, unless it contributes to, to the society, to the nature or things like that, it will not bloom. And I've also seen another thing that I was, when you told me Avejak, the first thing, what came to my mind, the first use case, a couple of months back, regarding my EV, I was talking to Irfan, e-bike go guy. And then I also talked to e-bike go runs this platform where EVs are used as cargo, stuff. Then I started getting deeper into that. And every city, it seems, has this one big contractor who has tie-ups with Big Basket, Swiggy, Zomato, and all that. And he has his riders and he has long-term contracts and he's doing business, which is very good from cash flow, from margins and all that. But when he goes to investors, they say, differentiator क्या है इसमें? USP क्या है? इसके अंदर मतलब disruption क्या हो रही है? So for some time, we should say, hey, forget that differentiation. If there's a business which is doing good, contributing, has good, cash flow, and if you can support them. So if I would love to give money to somebody who comes to me and say, hey, you know what, I have this 3-year contract from Big Basket, Amazon, this thing, to put the fleet, I need 50 lakhs. And as per this contract, whatever money comes, I'm automatically that some portion of the money will go to you. It doesn't even come to me. So you don't have to bother about whether this guy will pay me or not. And if I'm making a SaaS, this is SaaS, right? If I'm making, say, 5 lakh every month and my expenses are 2 lakh, then maybe 3 lakh I can give as a EMI or whatever you call it, right? So I think, And that's why I told you that when we are looking at investors, we should not even go to the VC angel investors, because their brains are wired by this, how disruptive it is and what is the USP, do you have a patent, what if the other guy comes and this and that. This is a
Sure.
investor that understands the boss. Businesses are run based on cash flows. Businesses are run, you have
Sure.
to offer an investment, and then you earn from that business over the next 2, 3, 5, whatever contract is. And if I can get an assured return, yes, I'm not saying that VC money is bad or something, but they are looking for 100x return. But I, who doesn't understand startups maybe, and I don't understand this valuation and how one e-commerce company can become this much or this much, what I understand that, boss, this is the money, this is what is happening, these are the operations. And if I belong to the same industry, so if this fleet guy and there is a big transporter who says, I have the cash and I can fund you, he understands logistics, he understands this thing, he cannot just give him the money, but he will also bring in certain skills and guidance as a mentor. And now, because this guy's money is invested in him, he would like to do whatever he can to kind of make sure that his business grows. Forget IP,
Sure. Sure.
forget disruption, forget
Sure.
acquisition. So
Sure. So I totally get your point that
lot of
that we have to invest. Anil.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Anil, I get the point. I get the point that we have to invest in cash flows and not valuation, because that should be the true spirit of investment, where this could be a win-win for both investors as well as for the founders. And I think that is what Avizek intends to do. So before we proceed, with our other panel members, I think I would like to take about 5 minutes to kind of run you about what exactly revenue-based funding is, and how does a model exactly work. So if you guys can just give me 1 minute, I'll try to put the presentation on. Just give me 1 minute, please. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just. If you guys can. Yeah, I was not sure if my if you were able to hear me so far. So I think there were some technical issues. I'm sorry. I hope you can hear me now. So as I was saying, revenue-based funding is a rapidly evolving funding mechanism. The way it normally works is it is most suitable for startups who have already turned down their first set of revenues, but now they need to grow to the second stage, and this could be a bridge funding, which can help their working capital, which can help their technology development, and which can also help them to enhance and strengthen their teams on ground. The way the basic model works is that we would help a startup to understand their funding requirement. We would, on the other hand, connect and mobilize investors to be able to arrange that kind of funding. This funding would be given to the startup in the form of secured OCDs debentures, which are held against their future receivables, and in return of the capital, they would be given a moratorium period of about 6 to 8 months, in which period they can use the capital, and they can grow the business to the required level. And after 6 to 8 months, we would take back a predefined portion of their revenues, which could be anywhere between 2 to 8% of the revenues of the startup, and we would keep taking back the revenue share and returning back to the investors till the time we have given the investors a predefined rate of return on their capital, which could be anywhere between 2x to 3x, depending on case to case basis, right? So now, if I talk about how it helps, as I said, I think as all of you would be aware of, that what are the current challenges in the whole startup ecosystem. So investors obviously they have a limited access to high growth potential and revenue positive startups. Uh, they do not have access to the real time access of the operational metrics of the investing companies, right? Obviously, the exits are the main challenge because uh, so far, if you are investing into a startup on an equity basis, your only return will happen once you get an appreciation in equity, right? And that exit is something which is not confirmed, which is not decided, because no one can actually tell that when the exit will happen. But in a revenue based funding, your returns are far more clear. So what revenue based funding does is that it removes the uncertainty in respect to the returns that you can have while you are investing into a high growth company, right? And obviously for startups, one, they do not have to dilute their liquidity, right? They have access to much more quality investors, right? And then traditionally, because of equity based funding, the focus has always been on valuation and not on actual value addition. I think that is something which revenue based funding will actually make an impact, and will be rewarding the entrepreneurs for the value that they are able to create, the kind of revenues that they are able to bring on board, and not just on the valuation part. All right. So as I said, how we build your portfolio, we would give you access to highly curated revenue making startups and MSMEs as well as the deal flow. The investments would be routed through escrow accounts under the trusteeship of debenture trustees and other regulated models. The return of invested capital normally begins in 8 to 12 months after your deployment. The principal is expected to be returned in about 3 to 4 years, and returns are expected to be completely given back to you in a period of 6 to 8 years. Obviously, this time period will reduce drastically if the company is really doing good, and that is what the focus would be. The expected IRR would be more than 20%. And you would have evidence to come for 2x return on the capital that you have invested in this startup without job. And obviously, the biggest thing is that we would offer you complete online availability of all the operational metrics for the investing companies. This is something which no other investment platform in India has been able to do so far, and this is what we endeavor to do. So, as I was saying, what are the relative advantages of revenue-based funding for investors and for founders? For investors, essentially, I think it's more about transparency. It's more about use of capital. It's more about understanding that you are actually contributing to real value addition and not just the valuation part of it. And most importantly, you have access to all the operational metrics of the startup, and you will also have access to understand that where will your money start coming back to you. So you will not be investing into any blind pool, so as to say. And for founders, as I said, there would be a much reduced dilution. There would be a faster disbursement of funds. The capital return is based on revenues and is not based on EMI. So we have a flexibility that, even in a circumstance, if you are a startup and your revenue is going down in a quarter, we are okay that we will not penalize you for that, because our return is a percentage of the revenue. Our return is not percentage of the right. So we work with you, we understand you, we are okay with the flexibilities that you want as a founder, and that is the advantage that founders have when they look at the RPF model, right? And again, as I said, there would be a joint focus on building value through optimizing operational metrics and revenues of the investing company, rather than just focusing on the valuation part. The investment terms are very easy to understand, much more clearer, right? And there is a larger trust from investors, because obviously the investors will also be able to see your operational metrics. Right? So I think, yeah, so that yeah, so I think that in a very brief way, kind of summarizes what revenue-based funding is all about, right? So now I think
हेलो। हम्म हम्म क्या रवि जी को बोल दो, we'll take it up अगर वो कनेक्ट हो। हाँ मतलब अनिल या रवि जी, anybody can start. But how will I invite them? हाँ, एक बार लॉग आउट करके लॉग इन करो फिर से।